Two Huntsville police officers fighting for their lives tonight after being shot by a suspect. And that's where we begin tonight. I'm Kenesha Dees. This is a map of where it all went down. This is in the 4600 block of Governor's House Drive. We begin our coverage tonight with Ken McCoy and how it all went down.
This began just before 5 p.m. when officers responded to reports of gunfire in the 4600 block of Governor's House Drive. They arrived and found a woman who had been shot. More gunfire erupted and two of those officers were shot by the suspect. The suspect barricaded himself in the apartment. It took about 90 minutes before the suspect finally surrendered to police. The suspect was injured somehow and taken to the ER with non-life-threatening injuries. We'll keep you posted as more details come in. For Fox 54 News, I'm Ken McCoy.
Thank you, Ken. And as he said, those officers were then rushed to Huntsville Hospital. This was the scene outside the ER late this afternoon where you can about to see, there you go, several dozen police and sheriff's deputies vehicles with their flashing lights. Now, those officers are right now in intensive care and critical condition. Our Nixon Norman has been outside the ER all evening. Nixon, what's the latest?
Now, Kenesha, before I dive into what exactly happened today, I want to go ahead and set the scene. I've lived here in Huntsville for a little over 2 years, and I've driven up and down this road many of times, and I have never, ever seen and heard this place be so quiet and somber. Now, about an hour and a half ago, you might see those silhouettes over there. That is law enforcement, and like I said, just about an hour and a half ago, I saw many of them hugging each other, patting each other on the back, giving each other support, again, after the unfortunate incident that happened today. Now, at 6:20 today, the offender was apprehended and also brought here to Huntsville Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Again, as I said, very calm, very quiet, very cold out here, and very sad.
This is a very tough time for us as a department, as a city in general. As you know, we had two officers responding to a call earlier today on Governor's House Drive. Both officers were shot and transported here with life-threatening injuries. Since that time, one of our officers has died. The second officer has undergone emergency surgery. He's still in critical condition. The offender and the victim, the original victim, who were also injured, were also transported here and has received medical attention. I just ask that the community embrace us, keep us in your prayers, because we have lost a great officer. We have lost a part of our community. At this point, I'd like to have Mayor Battle step up.
This is one of those times when there aren't words. Words to express our sorrow, words to express our support for our law enforcement officers who sit here and protect the city of Huntsville day in and day out. This is a time I think that all of us have rallied around our police, and it's amazing the number of emails and texts that we have gotten to show support and to say that each one of those officers are in our thoughts and prayers, those officers who's died and their families, those officers in critical condition and their families, and those officers who are still out there protecting us on a day-to-day basis. This is one of those times when it's very hard to come up with words to tell somebody, thank you for your sacrifice, and also to our men who are out there still on a day-to-day basis, that we as a community are here to support you. Thank you.
today was filled with emotion for law enforcement across the state after last night's shooting that left one Huntsville police officer dead and another fighting for his life. We've just learned that he will be laid to rest on Monday. Our Ken McCoy was at HPD headquarters where fellow officers talked about their colleagues.
Each day, officers take the ultimate risk to keep us safe.
Needless to say, it's been a very tough time for our department, for our officers, our employees, and our city.
Chief Giles and fellow officers are mourning the loss of Officer Garrett Crumby, who came to Huntsville just 3 years ago, while also continuing to show support for Officer Albert Morin, who is still in critical condition.
I've gone through this 4 times. And you got to understand, these officers, these employees, we have to go back to work. It's overwhelming, the number of calls and texts that I have personally received.
Deputy Johnson worked with both Crumby and Morin, and he spoke fondly of the 2 officers, recalling Crumby's love for sweets.
He's known amongst his squad as the sweet tooth guy. He was always known for coming to roll call with food, particularly a honey bun. I can tell you he was also noted for being the caregiver personality.
And Officer Morin, a native New Yorker, loved the outdoors.
He loved the outdoors as well and found his solace in hiking here in the Tennessee Valley and enjoyed most of those hikes by himself. We kind of called him the get it job done guy. He loved to take on extra work. He usually didn't have much to say, but I will tell you, he made no bones about it that the filter in the water fountain at the West Precinct needed to be replaced.
There was a small but positive update on his condition.
I know the point in time that he has been awake. Matter of fact, he even made a comment to his mom, I'm ready to go back to work, which obviously he's not. But that just shows you the type of mentality, a tough mentality he is, and his love for the job.
What a life he has lived. That was Ken McCoy reporting. Thank you, Ken. Huntsville police say that Crumby joined Huntsville PD nearly 3 years ago. He moved here after serving with the Tuscaloosa Police Department for nearly 7 years as a patrol and field training officer. He worked for HPD's West Precinct and was known by fellow officers for his positive attitude and willingness to learn. Family was important to Crumby, and he was described by colleagues as someone who would do anything for not just those he loved, but for anyone who needed help. Most of all, he was described as a leader among peers. Definitely sending prayers to HPD. And Alabama Law Enforcement Secretary Hal Taylor issued a statement in honor of Officer Crumby, saying that he, quote, gave his life while fulfilling his sworn duty to protect the public ahead of his own personal safety, end quote. Now, the community is coming together to show support for the police department with memorials like this you see here at Huntsville Police Headquarters. You can see the fallen officers memorial just becoming covered in flowers in honor of fallen Officer Crumby and injured Officer Albert Morin. Tonight, the Huntsville Police Department and hundreds of members of the community gathered for a candlelight vigil to honor the life of fallen Officer Garrett Crumby and injured Officer Albert Morin. Our Sedona Meadows was there earlier this evening. And Sedona, what was it like?
Kanisha, I mean, there was a lot going on. What I saw tonight was community, people hugging, taking moments of silence to honor both fallen Officer Garrett Crumby and injured Officer Albert Morin. And pastors within the Huntsville area led everyone in prayer. One even mentioned Officer Crumby's love for storm spotting.
To honor him, he didn't let a storm stop him, so we didn't let that storm stop us either. He made a difference to those around him. He was bold. 3 days ago, he boldly went into harm's way and gave the ultimate sacrifice, protecting someone who was in need.
This moment, we lift up Officer Albert Morin to you. As we lift him up, we come acknowledging, oh God, that he is yours, that he is loved by you, and that his life is in your hands.
The family is going to need us tomorrow, and the next day, and the next week, and the next month, and one by one, person to person, we can make a difference.
Now everyone came together to sing Amazing Grace and hold their candles in honor of the two officers. And visitation and funeral services for Officer Crumby are taking place this Sunday and Monday. And Officer Morin continues to recover at Huntsville Hospital. We'll have more information on our website at fox54.com.
Today, friends, family, and fellow officers gathered for the visitation of Huntsville Police Officer Garrett Crumby.
We see this nationally way too much, way too often. This officer gave his life doing what he loved to do.
Public Information Officer with the Madison County Sheriff's Office, Brent Patterson, touches on the importance of other local law enforcement agencies stepping up during a time like this.
You're looking at one badge right now. There is no city badge, there's no county badge, there's no state badge. It is one badge that we stand in unison together as one. And we're going to do that. In the next few days, the Madison County Sheriff's Office, we're stepping up to take care of these families who are grieving right now. And, you know, crime doesn't stop. And that's what people don't understand sometimes is people think that we can grieve and just put our badge down. It's not the way it goes. Crime doesn't stop. We step up. We make sure that the citizens of Huntsville has adequate support to make sure that everything gets handled.
He was a son, a brother, and a husband. He served honorably as a Tuscaloosa police officer as well as a Huntsville police officer, and he is a hero. I want everyone in here that is in law enforcement, fire and rescue, or the medical profession to please stand up, please. Law enforcement, medical profession, and fires. So I tell you, why did we get in this business? If this is how it all ends, if this is what it's all about, why are we doing this? Regardless if you're fighting fires, fighting crime, or providing medical care to save lives, you signed on because you care. You know there are people who depend on you. You signed on because you know that you're making a difference, and it would be chaos without you.
Very powerful there. A final farewell to HPD Officer Garrett Crumby. It's where we start. I'm Kenesha Dees. The city of Huntsville gathered today to pay final respects to Officer Crumby, who lost his life in the line of duty a little under a week ago. Fox 54 News with team coverage.
To quote Chief Giles from earlier this week, to say that the Huntsville community loves its police is an understatement, and nothing is more proof than that than the turnout today. To Huntsville police, he was a support system they needed.
Garrett was a cheerleader among his peers, always giving 110% to everything that he did.
To his family, he was Batman.
If that mask was on his face, he was Batman, and he wouldn't have it any other way. And he really did have plans to save us all.
Today, Officer Crumby's life was celebrated by many who had some sort of connection to him. And for a family grieving, that speaks volumes.
We had no idea how far his grasp reached. And as much as we are still grieving, it does give us some comfort to know that he really was truly a good man outside of our family as well.
And sharing stories is what his fellow officers will miss the most.
You never shied away from telling us how they police in Tuscaloosa versus HPD. I swear he had those stories. You were a calm and kind soul. Garrett, thank you for your selfless service, your drive, your respect, and most importantly, your sacrifice.
To the community, he was more than a faithful servant.
As he swore to protect and serve this community, he did it on a 24-hour basis. He did it during his time that he worked, but he did it in his time that he was able to give back to this community.
And now it's time for his final ride.
It's time to take your last ride, Charlie 311. Everyone is here to salute you, our hero.
And with that, the long funeral procession left Mayfair Church of Christ for Officer Crumby's final ride.
Spectators gathered at the intersection of Whitesburg Drive and Airport Road to show support for the funeral procession from Mayfair Church of Christ. Dozens of law enforcement representing different municipalities and agencies from North Alabama and Crumby's hometown of Tuscaloosa participated in the motorcade. For Emily Henn of Arley, The amount of different locales represented shows how far-reaching an impact this has had.
To me, it's just important to show that we all do care and that it's more than, just the officers of any state or any country, that feel the losses. We're here to support the community, we've got their six too, so there's, everyday civilians, we're here to show support too.
But closer to home, it might mean the most. Athens resident John Crocker is the father of an HPD officer. He wanted to express condolences for the loss of his daughter's coworker.
All I can say is a word of appreciation for her, as well as all of the other officers who are serving. Just a word of appreciation. Thank you for your service. That's why I'm here.
From Whitesburg Drive, the memorial continued to California Street, where Jasmine Bird spoke to more members of the community.
I'm here on the corner of California Street and Maple Hill Drive, where I just spoke with Huntsville Fire and Rescue, who declined to speak on camera because it just hit a little too close to home, and some were also on duty when this incident occurred. However, I did speak with one resident here today, and he says that Officer Crumby patrolled his neighborhood, and today he's making time to honor the legacy of the heroic officer.
Officer Crumby patrolled my neighborhood, and so he protected my family for these 3 years that he was on the West Precinct in Huntsville. And so I just need to come out today and give him a few minutes of my time and thank him for protecting my family and for serving the people of Huntsville.
Cox says today, he says thank you to the entire Huntsville Police Department.
Today I just stand for all the Huntsville policemen, thank them for their service and for protecting the people of Huntsville.
Huntsville to Charlie 311. Charlie 311, Officer Garrett Crumby, end of watch, March 28, 2023. Officer Crumby gave the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for your constant dedication to public service. It will not be forgotten. May you rest in peace. We have the watch from here. 1151, Huntsville clear.